This week in the Roofing Report, a robot that can lay shingles, how this machine could change the industry forever. Then, why one homeowner in Georgia is refusing to pay a contractor. We promise you'll be on her side. And we have another update. That McKinley-Mosley saga continues. They may be shut down in Louisiana, but the law firm is alive and kicking in Texas. As always, if you have stories, send them over to us for us to cover. Send them to Sydney@roofinginsights.com. If you like these reports, please show your support, show your love by clicking that like button below. And if you haven't already, make sure that you're subscribing. One last bit of housekeeping here. We are now posting the full episodes of Dimitri's podcast on the Business Hats YouTube channel. You can see short clips here, but the full interviews are only available at Dimitri Lipinski Podcast. We just dropped a major 2-part interview with Anthony Domenico over there. A lot of spicy stuff. It is definitely worth the watch if you have missed it thus far. And make sure that you subscribe for future episodes right there. With that said, let's get right to the news.
Tools and tech.
First up this week is some major technology news. A roofing company called Renovate Robotics built a robot that can lay shingles. Of course, we've got to show you exactly how this thing works. So the robot is named Rufus, and it's still just a prototype, but it will be working on roofs in 2024. A few contractors will be beginning to use the robot in a pilot program this spring. Rufus was designed to make shingle installs faster and safer. According to Renovate Robotics, 72% of contractors will have a hard time recruiting and keeping crews this year alone. Roofing is also the third most dangerous job in America, according to OSHA. Renovate Robotics believes that automation is the answer to the problems. Rufus can only install shingles right now, but the company has big plans for its future. They want Rufus to cut and tear shingles, install brackets for rack and panel solar systems, and install solar shingles. Contractors, you know we have to know what you think about this. Would you ever consider using a robot on a roof? Is this even good for the industry? Let us know in the comments below. We've got more news on the way, but first, we got to give a shout out to our sponsors because they make this entire thing happen. And this week, that is Raindrop Pro Gutter Guards. These sit right on top of your gutters at an angle. Very easy to install. Dimitri has tested them himself. The material is a very smooth plastic that helps the leaves and debris slide right off instead of building up on the top like some other gutter guards that you see out there. Another thing that makes Raindrop unique is they have a hail warranty. It's a very durable plastic, and because they are black, the plastic will warm up in the sun, which helps melt away that ice and snow in the winter. We highly recommend this product. Folks, go over to raindropgutterguard.com for more information. Up next is another technology update. Roofer.com raised $7.5 million in seed funding. If you don't know Roofer, they are a drone imaging company that uses AI to scan photos for damage. What makes them different from other drone companies is they also have roofing crews. They acquired Bearded Brothers Roofing and Restoration, and they are already doing jobs in Dallas. With seed funding, Roofer is planning to expand into the Austin market. For now, they are only in Texas, but with such a new business model, it's worth watching to see what happens next. Let us know in the comments, what do you think about Roofer? Is it a company that is here to stay or just a flash in the pan?
That was dumb.
Now we know you guys hate hearing bad news all the time, so we've made sure to find you something fun for this week. A roofer in Atlanta wants $1,800 because a homeowner hired someone else. I promise you, this one gets dumber and dumber the more it goes on.
Did he deliver supplies to your address?
He did not.
Did he bring a crew and show up and say, we're ready to go?
He did not.
Lathan wanted to replace Cornelia's new roof. She signed this agreement/contract, but gave the job to somebody else. Mr. Lathan says that's a breach of contract, and he is demanding $1,800 as a default fee.
The way I interpreted that document was that if we contracted with his company to actually replace my roof and I canceled, then I would owe them a certain amount of money.
Hang on, can a roofer or a contractor sue for not getting the job? We asked attorney Matt Wetherington.
There's rules on what has to be in the contract. There's rules on what you have to disclose.
One of Georgia's rules under its Fair Business Practices Act says that a roofer can't represent or negotiate with an insurance company on the homeowner's behalf. But that's the first line of Lathan's agreement.
This is black and white, improper conduct by a roofing company.
So right off the bat, this is not valid.
That doesn't mean it's not valid. It just means that it doesn't comply with the law.
Valid or not, a judge would have to decide. But until one does, Cornelia's not paying $1,800. Lathan says we only have half the story.
I'm waiting for the other half. If you could just tell me what work you did, this story's over.
He refused to tell us what work he did do, but he sent Cornelia a breakdown. $500 to clear the roof, $500 for preparing documents and tracking the claim, $400 for meeting with the owner and the adjuster, and $400 for daily reports and photos.
Altogether, it totals $1,800.
But the best part of the story is how these two met. Cornelia says she didn't call Mr. Lathan for a quote. She says he borrowed her ladder, a leaf blower, and her extension cord to give the next door neighbor a quote. The two started talking, and here we are.
What roofer doesn't have a ladder?
Cornelia didn't charge Core Blue Roofing for renting her items, but she is now. She wrote up an invoice, just for fun.
How much do you think that invoice should be for?
I think about $1,801 would probably cover the cost of usage.
I'll tell you what, I love that she just is not falling for any of this. I hope she actually does send that invoice. Stories like this bring up perhaps a bigger question to answer. Should a contractor be able to charge when somebody else signs their agreement and then chooses another contractor? We understand this is somewhat of a controversial issue. We want to hear from you. How does it work in your company, and how does it work in your state?
Badger's Corner.
Up next is an update on McKinley, Mosley & Associates, also known as MMA. If you've been following us for a while, you might remember them. MMA is a law firm that got shut down in Louisiana for filing thousands of hurricane claims. They have been accused of signing up clients without their consent, filing fraudulent claims, and a whole lot more. Unfortunately, MMA is still around in Texas. Steve Badger was forwarded a voicemail from one of their customers who was very unhappy.
Yeah, I'm yelling. I've cursed 3 times in my life and I'm 64 years old and it's all been on the phone with you all. You're gonna kill me. Don't you understand what you're doing to me? You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me with this. I can't take the stress. I'm a 64-year-old, 100% disabled senior. I can't take it.
Wow, that is hard to listen to. But there is some good news to come out of this. Steve did contact the homeowner to see if she needed a referral for a policyholder attorney. She said that her insurance company finally stepped up and gave her some more money. She also agreed to let Steve post a voicemail to show that MMA's copy and paste approach to claims just does not work. According to their website, MMA is still licensed in Texas, Florida, Colorado, Missouri, Mississippi, and North Carolina. Folks, if you live in any of those states, we recommend you warn family and friends to stay away from MMA, especially after big storms when they will be looking for new clients.
Roof disasters.
This next story is an interesting one out of Alaska. We normally don't cover things like roof collapses because it happens all the time and for all kinds of reasons. One roof collapse isn't big news, But in Anchorage, Alaska, 19 of them has our attention. They've had a record-setting 100 inches of snow this season. All of that snow is putting a dangerous amount of weight on older buildings. It's gotten so bad that engineers actually made a map of buildings that are at the highest risk. Check it out.
The city released a map showing specific commercial building locations with possible wood truss frame construction. That style of construction has been connected with roof collapses. Daniel King, an engineer with the MOA, says the map was created from public appraisal data, taking 90,000 parcels and trimming it down to 1,200 of the most at-risk construction type.
Our main goal is safety first. And so making this information available to people so they know where these conditions are potentially at.
Along with the new resource is guidance due to the weight on some homes that they believe can become problematic.
We are increasing it. We are recommending now for people that have not considered shoveling their roof to start considering it.
King says the residential buildings most at risk include those with flat roofs being built between 1970 to 1995. The Muni says the snow load on buildings is approaching the 90% of the 40 pounds per square inch design load.
So our updated guidance does give a few guidelines as far as, if you are seeing cracking, if you are seeing doors jamming and windows aren't opening, those are strong signs that you have a lot of load and a lot of stress on your roof, and so you should consider shoveling.
Now the good news is that no one has been hurt so far by building collapses. Most of them were commercial buildings and they were empty at the time. We gotta hear from you though. If you live somewhere where it snows, have you ever seen anything like this kind of magnitude? Do you normally shovel your roof? Let us know in the comments below.
Fines, scams, and jail time.
We'll end this video with some good news, but first, we have an important story for you out of Alabama. We've been talking about teen roofers a lot the past few months. Under federal law, teenagers cannot work on roofs, but there are more than a few minors that have died or gotten injured on job sites. A New York Times investigation found that in a lot of these cases, contractors are not getting fined for hiring kids in the first place. Our update this week is not a happy one, but it could be a step in the right direction. Apex Roofing and Restoration was forced to pay $120,000 for violating child labor laws. The Department of Labor started investigating Apex in 2019 after a minor died on one of their job sites. It was the kid's first day on the job. He was 15 years old. He fell 50 feet from a roof. Obviously, no fine will make up for the loss to this child's family, friends, and community. But it's important for the industry to be held accountable in these cases. And this isn't the first time Apex has run into some legal problems. This is the same Apex Roofing and Restoration that has been accused of falsifying homeowner signatures in Louisiana. They have been sued, along with MMA, over hurricane claims, while they are blaming the fraud on MMA. If you want to know more about this story, go back and watch our investigation into McKinley, Mosley, and Associates. It is essential that this show is always honest with you. Apex Roofing and Restoration is a client of mine at Blue Collar Media Group, and according to them, they believe that the source is incorrect. They say that the older brother, who did give testimony in this case, said that the individual who died was not a part of their team. Often in these cases, there can be conflicting testimony, but in full disclosure to you, I always want to be honest with the audience.
Good news.
Last but not least, it's time for some good news, everybody. Grandels Roofing and Construction is hosting a free roof giveaway. If you know someone in need in the North Platte, Nebraska area, you can nominate them before March 1st. Send them a message on Facebook or email grandelsroofingconstruction@gmail.com. The winner will be announced on March the 7th. Folks, that is it for the week. If you have not already, go right below this video. Make sure you hit that like button so we know that you're liking and watching this content. And as always, make sure to tune in next Sunday for the Roofing Report. We'll see y'all next week.